Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodananda Vajrajana Ranjana Yashodananda Vajrajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabihari Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Isopanisad ki jai. So responsively, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So the invocation is class today. So we're going to chant that mantra next. We'll do one word. I'll say one. Okay, I'll say the whole line and then you say the whole line. And then you'll know it off by heart. Om Purnamada Arpunamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate Om Purnamada Arpunamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate Om Purnamada Arpunamidam Om Purnamada Arpunamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. So the invocation is not part of the book Isopanisad, but it is in actual fact a verse that is synchronized with the philosophy of the entire work. So hence, it's the invocation. It's not like mantra 1 or mantra 2 like that. So next week, we go on to mantra 1. The translation by Srila Prabhupada. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. And because he's completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he's complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. So, uh, so this verse uh, is very, very amazing in describing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But before we go on to this verse, last week we had class on the introduction of this book. So we will have a quick revision on the important points from last week's verse. Firstly, let me ask you, if somebody approaches you and says to you, I have my own philosophy about life. Now, it's as an argument. Somebody approaches you in an argumentative way and say, I have my own philosophy about life. How would you try to help the person come to a higher understanding philosophically? I have my own philosophy of life. Is that okay? It's one philosophy. Don't feel scared to say the wrong thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe they don't have um, complete knowledge
Uh-huh.
to establish their philosophy, or
Uh-huh.
they are basing it on their experiences which can be limited.
Very good lead. Very good lead.
She wasn't here.
And she wasn't here. She's new. She's very new. Anyone else? Well done. Anyone else?
So Prabhupada, uh, one person, he gave Prabhupada the same argument. That what I think is truth for me, and what you think is truth for you. So that's my philosophy. So Prabhupada said, if a thief comes to attack you, because the thief thinks that for him to steal and kill you is his truth, are you going to let him kill you? And if you believe in your philosophy, then what should you do? No, how can you defend this? Because you're saying whatever I believe is true and whatever he believes is true. So if he is believing that for him to kill is right, you must let him live his philosophy. You can't kill him. So you contradict yourself in that philosophy, in that way. So what argument are we going to give from last week's class?
It has to come from last week's class. Try, Prabhu.
The philosophy that you 96% of the Vedas is basically Ramakanda, and like that 4% is Bhakti. But yeah, so I think basically I think that try to understand it was his philosophy and build on that.
Okay. We're not even talking religion here. It's just me and you. Okay.
I'm trying to find out the philosophy because of what they understand is what is right and wrong, and then try and build up that basically according to
Can I have a complete philosophy?
I don't know.
Not really. Yes. Why not?
Because we have short-term memory.
Oh, the 4 defects. Mistakes.
We're prone to make mistakes. We come under illusion, imperfect senses, and cheating propensity. What are the 4 defects? Somebody else? Cheating propensity? No. Illusion is Maya. Yeah. To come under illusion. Imperfect senses, and to make mistakes. Someone else? Damodar Prabhu, give us one. 4 defects.
Yeah. Senses.
Imperfect senses. Rangana Prabhu. To make mistakes. Cheating propensity. To come under illusion. So these are the 4 defects that all of us have. In creation, because we're materially conditioned, we have these 4 defects. Hence, anything that we come about on our own. So if I want to know something, if I'm in pursuit of knowledge, there are different ways I can accumulate knowledge, right? But in last week's class, we covered 3 important ways in which one gets knowledge. Who can say? Who read, who listened to the audio, or who remembers, revised, or who just anything that's on your mind? What are the 3 ways, prominent ways that one can accumulate knowledge? Yes. Descending process. Very good. Another thing? That's descending. Okay.
Direct perception.
Direct perception. And the other one? Pratyaksha is perception, sense perception. With our imperfect senses, we perceive something. Like Prabhupada gives the example, we see the sun in the sky and we think, oh, that's a small disk. But in actual fact, it's not a small disk. It's a huge fiery planet. It has a sun god. It's not just what our senses perceive. And then the next one is Anuman. Anuman is inference. So in inference, Man is mortal. I'm a man, therefore I'm immortal. I'm mortal. How you say it?
Man is mortal. I'm a man, therefore I'm mortal.
Okay, we're inferring according to certain things. And then the last one, which is more definite, is which? Shabda. Shabda means descending knowledge, knowledge that is coming down. So it's not something that you have to speculate about, make a formula, and then build on that, right? It's not someone's theory. It is something that cannot be contended, right? And some of the examples Srila Prabhupada gave us that was discussed in last week's class, give me two, should I say, as a clue. Favorite of the little boy Blue. What about the cow? The something is in the Vedas about the cow. No, that's true, but something else. Cow dung. Cow dung is impure. The dung of any animal is impure. But the Vedas say that cow dung is pure. We accept the Vedas as descending knowledge. But scientists have carried out experiments and have proven that cow dung has totally antiseptic properties, right? It is amazing if you study the devotees that are taking care of cows. Panchagavya, the 5 substances that come from a cow, can heal a person even of cancer when one follows the process of taking it. Panchagavya is exceptionally potent in healing, in being beneficial to human beings. The Vedas tell you that the cow is sacred, it's beneficial to mankind, etc. But science can even prove it. So the fact of the Vedas is indisputable. The other thing that we know from the Vedas, that bones are all impure, right? Bones are impure. But which bone is pure? The conch shell is pure, right? Even though it's the exoskeleton of a creature of the water, the conch shell it has antiseptic properties, it's pure, etc. So there are many facts in the Vedas. What does the word Veda mean? We've heard last week in class. Vedanta means anta, the end of all knowledge, right? So Vedanta, where all knowledge ends. And Prabhu explained that if you want to know about anything in creation, we understand that the Vedas is a manual for existence, manual for this creation. So if you want to know anything about astronomy, astrology, mathematics, we said last week, what else? Vastu, surgery, skills, so many things. It's all eventually coming from the Vedas. And as the Prabhu said, 96% of the Vedas deal with so much of stuff. But the 4% is that percentage which we are interested in, that actually leads us to the path of bhakti, to end the repeated cycle of birth and death. So some points from last week's class: 4 defects. Again, screen. To err, to make mistakes, to come under illusion, cheating propensity, imperfect senses. 4. 3 ways of getting knowledge. 3 ways of getting knowledge. Perception. Perception means through our imperfect senses. Anuman means inference, logic. And the last one was Shabda. That means looking through the eye of scripture. sound vibration, shruti, right? When we look through our eyes, we said, are defective, they're limited senses. So, because of the cloud of anarthas, unwanted qualities, material conditioning, our perception of different things that we see through our eyes will lead us astray, won't lead us to the absolute truth. But when we look through the eyes of Scripture, Scripture coming to us in disciplic succession, as it is, in an unbroken disciplic succession, that type of Scripture, as Srila Prabhupada in our disciplic succession has delivered to us, that type of Scripture is illuminating. It is through the eyes of these types of Scripture that we must perceive life and things around us. So today, so that covers basic. Any last point? You say?
What does Upanishad mean?
She sat there today because she didn't come to last week's class. She always sits here. That's a clue. Uh-uh.
So the Upanishads, they cover the building blocks of life, but the word Upanishad, what does it mean?
To sit closely and hear. You understand?
Another meaning was that knowledge that brings one closer to Supreme, Upanishad.
All right. So at the beginning of each class, beware. We sometimes get into this playful mood of having a little bit on the spot quiz, because that's how we learn, right? And we're learning together. So don't feel shy if you say something wrong or
And
anything.
also remember, the Srimad Upanishad is small, but Prabhupada doesn't give all unnecessary information in his books. Prabhupada is filtering, you know, tons and tons and tons and tons of knowledge and giving us the essence. So all the points that Prabhupada makes in his purport is for us to remember and recollect. And if we remember these points, lifetime after lifetime, they'll stay with us. These are essential points we should try to memorize, try to recollect. And whatever you hear, write it down, try to recall it to somebody on the weekend 3 times. Repeat it find 3 people. Now you have an opportunity to call people and tell them, you just say, Hari Bol, this is what I heard. Don't even do an introduction. Just repeat 3 times. That way you will remember.
The points in this Isopanisad are so valuable. I had the good fortune of spending more than 20 years of my life as a full-time devotee in temples. And one of my main services was to go out and preach. So we would go door to door as our daily service for hours at night. But during the day, we'd spend the days on the street selling books from 9 to 6. And what would happen is many people would challenge us when we approached them with books. And you had to be equipped with these basic points, especially from the Isopanishad, to converse with people. When people attack your philosophy or for your own growth of faith, it's important for you to be able to repeat these points. Like someone comes up with a philosophy, okay, or they challenge you that God is like this, God is like this. Why do you say God is a blue boy? Why? Because you can't perceive. Why can't I see God, for example? They would ask you a common question. Because your senses are imperfect. You got to purify those senses, right? And there's a process for everything in life. There's a process. If I want to learn tennis, I have to go through the process of learning tennis from a teacher. If I want to learn the piano, I have to learn and practice from a teacher. So spiritual knowledge, which is even more difficult than material knowledge, it requires some in-depth study and acceptance.
So to answer the question that was asked, that I have my own philosophy of life. In essence, you have your philosophy, but how do you perceive life? Which are imperfect senses. And you have mistakes. You make mistakes, illusion. So these four defects, you can't really give a perfect conclusion for. Therefore, we don't accept anyone's conclusion of life because they're all imbued with imperfections. But knowledge coming down in the cyclic succession, Shabda, that is perfect coming from God. Therefore, we accept God's conclusion in terms of philosophy.
So this invocation prayer is stressing that Krishna is perfect and complete. And we're going to break that down through the different slides in today's class. The first word, Om, right? So Srila Prabhupada, he explains, you see, the Isopanisad was not written by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada gave a series of lectures on all of the verses of the Isopanisad, and his disciples took those lectures, transcribed it, and put it as the purports of this great work. And they're very accurate and in-depth. So this word, Om, at any time if it gets blurred, just notify Prabhu, right? So Om, Prabhupada has to say about it in the Bhagavad Gita 8 chapter text 13. It is clearly stated here that Om, Brahman, and Lord Krishna are non-different. The impersonal sound of Krishna is Om, but the sound Hare Krishna contains Om. The chanting of Hare Krishna mantra is clearly recommended for this age. So sometimes people will tell you, my preferred chant is Om. And sometimes they may decide that to start or to invoke auspiciousness, we should chant the mantra Om. You know, at the beginning of on my wedding invitation on the top, it should say Om. If it's my funeral notification, it should say Om. So they believe that Om is the all auspicious sound. But here Srila Prabhupada is telling us, where is Om? Om is contained within the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is known as Maha Mantra. Why? Because all of the mantras, the potency that one can get from chanting any other single mantra is contained within this valuable 32-syllable mantra, right? The Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If at any point in time, as a representative of the Sankirtan mission of Srila Prabhupada, you have the chance to chant Hare Krishna and lead a crowd in chanting Hare Krishna, never get bored and think, oh, we're chanting Hare Krishna for so long, let's introduce some other mantra. Like, anything else? What does Boy George say? Hare Krishna. Something of Nita go Radhe Sham, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, right? There are different mantras. People can concoct so many mantras, or they can start introducing new chants, new mantras, right? And sometimes some new age devotees, even within our movement, may start to introduce these things. Hello, in the scripture, it is explained by the founder Acharya that the Hare Krishna mantra is perfect and complete because it's non-different from Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. Did you say Om?
No, yeah. The Hare Krishna mantra don't make or do into the
Yes.
but the Panchatattva mantra is pure. So I know that
Yes.
we clarify may
Very good. You're going in the good direction. Why we're not chanting the Panchatattva mantra? Because it's more merciful. Your question is absolutely 108% bona fide. This question was asked to our acharyas, and the conclusion, the verdict was that just as a wife, a proper wife, is chaste to the husband and takes instruction, and similarly, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Yuga avatar, and we remain chaste to his instruction, and his instruction is chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we, even though the Panchatattva mantra is more merciful, there's no offenses in chanting the Panchatattva mantra, but the Yuga avatar has given the Yuga Dharma, and the Yuga Dharma means chanting the Maha Mantra, and the Panchatattva mantra is chanted according to the recommendation of the Acharya in our lineage. And his recommendation, according to the purport in the CC, like we do in the Japa course, right, is that you chant it at the beginning and at the end. Okay? So this Om Purnam. So Om contains it's the impersonal sound vibration of Krishna, and it is contained within the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Now Prabhupada is explaining there are three aspects of understanding God. We may come across some people in life when we're preaching or when we're trying to converse with people about religion, and they would say, I believe that God is just a light. Okay? God is just one big, bright light. And there's no, and if everybody adopted this understanding, there won't be clashes. There won't be, people proclaiming that Shiva is God and Brahma is God and Durga is God and Krishna is God. Why don't you all just believe that God is one big light in the sky? Sounds like a plan? Yes, Prabhu. What do you think about that? It sounds like a plan. Okay, but is that the goal? No. All right. So this understanding of God is a light, is it wrong? It's not wrong. It is not a wrong concept. It is an incomplete concept. Because from God's body, there is the light that is called Brahman. Right? From the Supreme Personality's body, there emanates a very bright effulgence, and that is called Brahman. And what happens? People who have this understanding of Brahman, they will, at the end, Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita that you will meet that end, which how that verse goes? Smaram bhavo chajante, right? Whatever consciousness you have at the time of death, that you will attain in your next existence. So at the time of death, if you're thinking that God is this great light, you will merge into the light, right? However, this in the purport, Prabhupada explains what is Krishna. Krishna is explained in the Brahma Samhita. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Right? That he is made up of eternality, knowledge, and bliss, as are you and I. Right? What are you made up of? You're eternal. You're full of knowledge and you're blissful. That's the real you, right? Everybody's looking for happiness. Why? Because that happiness is what you're made up of, right? But we try to look for it externally. Then, because we're covered now, we're contaminated. It's like an iron rod that has become rusty. So what happens is that the scraping of the rust has to take place, and that is Cheta Darpanamarjanam, the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra that is recommended by our Yuga avatar. Now, this Brahman understanding is not wrong. It's like a class 1 child, and Prabhu explained last week something about the number line. What can you tell me about the number line? Anybody? If I'm putting you on the spot, just say pass, okay?
The number line, we only learn that it's the positive.
Yes.
When we start,
Yes.
we don't know the negative side of it. As we progress, then we understand the negative.
Very good. Is class 1 mathematics wrong? What it is? It's beginning, but it is incomplete, right? So this Brahman understanding is like that. And then you get the next level of understanding, which is the Param Atma. You get Param Atma Vadis. Okay? So a Paramatma Vadi, he believes God is everywhere. God is within you. God is within you. So, they, Daridra Narayan, right? What is Daridra Narayan?
Every Narayan is in everyone, and if you Narayan,
And you
you are
poor,
poor Narayan.
right? But Narayan's wife, we know according to scripture, is, and she is the source of all wealth, right? So how can he be poor? So so what happens is that the Paramatma Vadis, they believe God is every way. I can worship God every way. I don't need to go to the mandir, or that's a common when you go door to door and you preach to Hindus. They say, no, I'm satisfied. I stay at home. My heart is clean. God is in my heart. Things like that, right? Is the heart clean? Why? Huh? Okay, I didn't hear it.
So they wouldn't be here in the first place.
We wouldn't be here in the first place if it was clean, unless we're Ma Bhagavat descending to liberate others, right? So what happens is that the heart is not clean, and the other point is, if can we perceive God everywhere? If God is everywhere, why not in the murti? Why not in the temple, right? So what happens is that the Paramatma Vadis, their understanding. So we said God is Sat, Chit, and Ananda. So these people, the people that believe in the Brahmavadis, they believe in the eternality, which is the Sat feature, right? So their only understanding is Krishna is Sat. So the Chit feature, the Paramatma Vadis believe in, right? And that is that God is all knowledge, is all pervasive, therefore he knows everything, is every way, he knows everything. So they believe in the fact that God is eternal and he is all-knowing. They are Paramatma Vadis. So they believe in Sat Chit. The lower one was only Chit, which is eternality. Then the second one, Paramatma Vadis, they believe in Sat and Chit. So those who believe in Bhagavan is the personal aspect of God, right? That God is a person, a supreme being. He has a form. And Prabhupada is going to explain this in greater detail later on in this purport. So Bhagavan realized people, they understand God in three features, which is Sat, Chit, and Ananda. So they have the understanding of the Brahmavadis, the Paramatmavadis, but they go one step further. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the first chapter, Prabhupada explains this point, and he uses an analogy of the sun. There's a sun rays, and there's the sun rays, the sun planet, and the sun god. So the sun rays is likened to the Brahmavadis, understanding of God. And then the sun planet is the understanding of the Paramatmavadis. But those who understand that beyond the sun rays and the sun planet is a person who is governing that sun planet, and that is the complete understanding, which is the Bhagavan understanding. So God is in these three features. So we understand in our parampara Bhagavan realization, or we have to come up to the platform of Bhagavan realization. Is it too light or is it okay? So Purnam, Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha, like we were saying just now in the previous slide, there is complete facility because Purnam, whatever is done by Krishna, that is complete. You cannot find out any flaw in it, right? So Prabhupada is saying, whatever is done by Krishna is complete. So is this creation complete? Because it's done by Krishna. So if Krishna is complete, whatever he creates, whatever he does, that is complete, right? Krishna knows past, present, and future. He knows what is best for us in all circumstances, and he is the complete being. Since the Lord is Purnam, all perfect, there's no possibility of his being subjected to the laws of material nature which he controls. So it's not like, they have this picture of Atlas, who they refer to as God, and he's pretty old, and he looks like he's losing control of everything, right? And he needs some help. But no, Krishna is Nava Yovanamcha. He is ever youthful, he is complete, and he is never under the control of the material energy, because the material energy is actually his inferior energy, right? It's his inferior energy. God has got his inferior energy, his marginal energy, and his divine energy. So his Ladini Shakti is his higher energy. So this Mahamaya potency is actually his inferior energy. And we fall into the marginal. We can fall on either side of the fence. We can choose to be divine, or we can choose to be part of the illusion. Just like here, something being offered to Krishna, to God, he will eat it, but he will leave everything for you as prasadam. How? Purnat Purnam Udachate, Purnasya Purnamadaya, Purnam Eva Vashishyate. This is God's power. He will eat everything, but he will keep everything for you as prasadam. Right? Krishna is complete. His vision is not limited like our vision. If Krishna glances at an offering, Prabhupada explains in the 9th chapter purport of Bhagavad Gita that Krishna eats by his glance, right? He doesn't have to physically pick it up as we material people have to pick it up and put it in our mouth. But of course, to come down to our level and to instill faith into us, he sometimes does that in different circumstances. For example, there is a deity in India. What's the deity's name? That actually ate from Arjunacharya, right? There was a great Acharya in our line. His name was Arjunacharya, and he had a son who he left to tend to the deity's service. And the child, in his childish, pure innocence, was imploring the Lord to please eat, otherwise his parents would become upset. Huh? Yadunandan Acharya, sorry. And the deity actually ate. So the laddu was bitten and it was still in his hand when they found it, when they went to take the offering out. So Yadunandan, so sometimes Krishna does it. Then there's, like we're talking about mountains just now before class started, gods of mountains. There's one mountain in South India, in Andhra Pradesh actually, where there is Panakana Nishingadev, right? And he takes half of the jaggery water. Nishingadev's favorite drink is jaggery water. Gur, it's unrefined sugar. So it's simply mixed with water, and he takes half. His mouth is open like 15 centimeters deep, and it said that he will take half and he would leave for you. But like your Prabhupada is saying, Krishna is so complete, he can accept the offering, but at the same time, you will have prasadam to eat. Like in Jagannath Puri, the entire village has Mahaprasad of Jagannath, and Jagannath has his offering, and everybody else has their offering. So that is symbolic of Krishna's completeness, right? That he would eat and he will leave. That is the idea. Purnamidam. Purnam means complete. And because he's complete, the creator, he has no defect. Prabhupada said he doesn't come under the material energy. If he doesn't come under the material energy, his senses are not defective as our senses. Our senses have the 4 defects. Why? Because we're coming under the lower energy. So he has no defect. Therefore, he can create everything complete. Purnam idam, purnam ada, purnat, purnam udachate. And he is so complete that purnasya purnam adaya. If you take the whole complete from the complete, he is still complete. So just now we'll do some spiritual mathematics because we take maths in the Vedas, right? Also. So just like Prabhupada gives the example in this lecture, this is an excerpt from a lecture, and there's few more parts to it that will come through, and at the end I will tell you where this lecture was given. So Prabhupada gives the example, just like there's water in this bottle, and he uses the example of a cup. So the water in the bottle makes it's completing my need for water. So if we take the water away, it's an incomplete, right? Or if we take the bottle away, it's incomplete. So similarly, so that because it's material. However, with Krishna, Prabhupada gives the analogy of the sun. The sun is giving so much of heat. It is giving so much of light. It is giving so much of energy for millions and millions of years before we were even born, right? The sun will do that after we die. But does the sun diminish in stature? It doesn't, right? It remains ever bright, ever powerful, ever energetic, right? So similarly, Prabhupada explains Krishna is like that. Even though he's complete whole and so many units are emanating from him, he remains the complete whole. There used to be a comic where, the picture of God touching the first living man, and breathing life into him through that touch. And then after that, he wilts away because all his life went into that. So Krishna, he's not like that, right? Krishna actually, even though he's breathing life like the sun, giving energy to so many different things, Prabhupada explains that by the sun's potency, there are so many seasons. There's snow happening, there's rain happening, there's so much of power. Just like there's power in the socket only when it is plugged in, right? When it's not plugged, there is no power. So Prabhupada says, but there is power in sunshine. It is a reservoir of so much heat and light that for millions and millions of years it has been distributing it. The seasonal changes are going on. The green foliage is coming again. The snow, rain are coming. And so many things are going on account of heat, right? Own any machine. Now, on the contrary, right? That's the sun, which is likened to Krishna. On the contrary, on the material plane, you have machines. The machine is rolling. Just as soon as there is power, the machine is rolling. All the machines, your bodily machine, my bodily machine, the electric machines, other powered machines, everything is going on. Purnat, Purnat, Udachate. And in spite of taking so much energy from the sun, it is still full of light and energy. The machines, they work only when it's plugged in. But the supreme energy, there's no lack. There's no beginning, there's no end. There's always this energy, right? So Krishna is like that. This is one of the creations of the Supreme. So how perfect is the Supreme? Our sun is one of his creations. Why? Because there are millions of suns. There are millions of universes. You remember the picture of Mahavishnu in the Bhagavatam? He's lying on the causal ocean, and so many planets, so many universes are coming out from the pores of his body. And in each universe, there's a sun. There's a sun planet, right? So there's so many suns in so many different universes. We only know this universe. We only know this sun. So how much power is that reservoir of all this power? He's the all-powerful. Anyone disagree? It doesn't have load shedding. Right? How merciful he is. He's giving, and we don't even pay a bill.
Imagine 2 hours of load shedding of the sun. In big trouble.
right? Krishna gives, we don't pay back, right? He's not demanding any payback from us. But of course, it behooves us to pay back in service to him, right? In gratitude, to show gratitude, to chant his holy name, to follow the process of gratitude that the acharyas show us. All these sons are created by someone. How complete he must be, you can just imagine. That is God, right? So all this power that's needed for every single thing, that's coming from our one son. But it's multiplied in the different universes. The Brahmas in the other universes, they have more than 4 heads, right? The Krishna book tells us. So they have, so this, the dimensions are even greater. The need for power is greater. That son has to be more powerful. Like, when you go to the Vrindavan Parikram mark from the Krishna Balaram Mandir, there's one place where Krishna sits after he spots with the Kaliya serpent. There's that tree with a branch, and then that's the tree that Krishna jumped from to get onto Kaliya, right? And that tree is hollow, but it's still got life. But further up, this not far from there, before you go to Madan Mohan Temple, there's a place very close to Madan Mohan Temple that is called Dasvameda Ghat. That's where thousands of suns came to warm Krishna's body when he was cold from spotting in the Yamuna with Kaliya, right? The suns from the other universes, they all came, and that was the place they were trying to warm up Krishna's body. That source, which is the source of all other power, he's not affected by that. You go in the sun, you have to put sunblock, right? Now imagine so many suns are coming. That's the power of this God of ours that is called Krishna. God is not such a cheap thing, Prabhupada is saying. People become God. I am God. These are rascals. What can they do? These are bluffers. They do not know what is God. Here is God, complete. Purnam Ada Purnam Idam. The whole creation is complete. Still, He's complete. The energy is coming from here, still is complete. This energy also, a glass of water. I throw away the contents of the glass, the water is again filling in it. Again, I throw it out, and again it's filling. Incessantly coming all the energies. That is the idea of God. That you use it, you use some energy that He's giving, it's not depleted, He'll give more. There's no shortage, right? Now remember, we said everything in creation is His energy. Everything is complete. Now listen to what Prabhupada will say just now. This is the idea of God. So now we have spiritual mathematics class. 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1?
One.
Which school did you go to? Which school did you go to? 1 plus 1? One plus one in spiritual mathematics is 1. You're all very advanced people, and I'm honored to be in your presence, right? So 1 plus 1 in spiritual mathematics is 1. So, because Krishna is the one, if you have Krishna plus more Krishna equals Krishna. Which Leela can you think of where Krishna manifests in different incarnations? Rasa Leela? Where else? Very good. I was thinking of that one, right? When he was churning the milk ocean, he came as Dhanvantari. He came as Kurma. He came as Mohini, right? He was there. So he came in different incarnations in that one pastime. You were right in the Rasa Leela. And we'll come across another pastime just now in detail. Infinity plus infinity equals the infinite Krishna.
So that's complete, and when we get more of, or like, but like out of what is
Mhm.
Since we're in the material world, but the only thing that I've from understanding is like time. We have another time factor where we don't have enough time. Other than that, I know the spiritual world is no endless, past and gone forever.
Mhm.
How do we understand it? You know, time factor. We so stuff.
Time in the material world. What are the 5 subjects in Bhagavad Gita? Introduction of Bhagavad Gita explains the 5 subjects in Bhagavad Gita. Kala is time. Ishwara, which is Krishna. Jiva, which is us. Prakriti, material nature, which we're living in. And the last one is that which is changeable, karma, right? So those are the 5 subjects of Bhagavad Gita. For those of you that are writing, I repeat it. Ishwara, which is Krishna. Then Jiva, which is us. Prakriti, material energy. Kala, which is time. And karma. Out of these, karma is changeable. And what Krishna explains, time I am the destroyer of the worlds, right? So, Clinton, what was your question, Prabhu, about time? Yeah.
And so whatever the energy never be.
Yes.
And in the supply of
So you're trying to understand how there's temporary things.
yeah, how this time factor in the material world, how does that defeat for us? Since we are given, obviously we understand that once we become self-realized, there's no such thing as time because whether we body or next body, I'm not sure if that's the answer, but I'm trying to make sense of
Yes. So
that.
when you become perfect, not that there's no time, but time is
Conspicuous.
by its absence, which means time doesn't destroy. Time becomes like this quality eternal. So because we are on the opposite side of the scale, for us, even Krishna's complete energy seems incomplete. Experiencing the incompleteness. Okay? When you become connected to Krishna, totally, completely connected to Krishna, then you'll experience the completeness of Krishna in the form of time.
For now, we've accepted a temporary dimension for our existence. So unless that paradigm is or that mindset is changed, then we can shift into eternal time. Because a pure devotee can be simultaneously in the material realm and the spiritual realm. And so many pastimes we can give you about, Shamananda Pandit, the Goswamis, so many things like that, right? So, so the temporary nature is by our choice that we choose to live in it. So here, read loudly, Vivek.
1 minus 1 equals 1, not 0. 1 plus 1 equals 1, not 0. This is the idea of God, just like the ocean. Take many thousands of buckets of water out, still. Again, you put in many thousands, millions of buckets of water. In there. This is another example. Real example. Real example. So if you take millions of buckets of water from the ocean, you will find not a drop is lost. And you put millions of buckets of water again, not a drop is in. Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Evavasyate. If you take out the whole ocean, still will remain the ocean. Idea of Purnamidam Purnam Asam.
So now Prabhupada has given us 2 analogies to explain how God is complete, right? Who can say the first one? That's the second one. Okay, we make it the first one. It's still the same example, right? So God is, how complete is God? He's like the ocean, right? Because the ocean, you can take out as 1 bucket of water, you can take out 1,000,000 buckets of water, it's still the ocean. But you can, you can put in so many buckets of water, it will still remain the same depth, like you said, read correctly. Then what was the next analogy? And it's not on this slide, so don't even look at it so deeply as you're trying to in the previous slides. Did I say it correctly? The sun, thank you. Gives me hope. Thanks for listening. Right? So it's the sun, right? The sun is giving so much of power, the sun is giving so much of energy, but the sun remains complete. God remains complete. He's giving so much of power. The seasons, the snow, the rainfall, everything is happening by the sun. And how much power? In this universe, millions of sun, but still Krishna is complete, right? Even though so much energy is being taken away from him. And the second one is the ocean. So remember those two, because you know why? We may have a quiz next week before text one, right? So now God has a form, right? Vigraha means form. So now, do you believe God has a form? You're sure you believe so? Why do you think God has a form? Tell me why you believe God has a form.
We have a form.
Because you're a big deal. You also have 4 defects. Does God have 4 defects? I'm just playing devil's advocate. Right.
Um, he have a form. He has to also have form like us, or not like us, but
You're on the right track, but it's worded not completely.
Incomplete.
Yeah, there's incompleteness in your explanation.
Yeah, marginal potency.
Okay,
The,
complete
the complete
source.
yeah, source of all sources. And this is our nature. It's similar to his nature would be much more potency.
See, whatever's in the cause has to be in the effect. What's the cause of smoke and heat? Fire. Can fire be fire without smoke and heat? Can heat and smoke be independent of a fire? No. So whatever is in the cause has to come from whatever's in the effect comes from the cause, right? So if you have a form and you the effect, there's something that which has caused you will have the form. Otherwise, you are superior. You have something that he doesn't have. You get that?
His form is not like this.
But his form is not limited, it's not defective, it doesn't have the 4 defects. It is therefore known as a supreme form. Okay? You have a form, God has a form. What's the difference? We have the 4 defects. Our form is limited, our form is temporary, God's form is eternal. It is not affected by the hand of time. No wrinkles come from the hand of time, right? He is Nava Yovanam. So all these points, try to memorize them like that, right? His senses are not limited. He can eat with his eyes. He can, drink with his ears. He can do any function with any of his senses. His senses are not limited to, like our senses are limited to one function. Okay. So that is the how he is. So now read loud and clearly, Clinton Prabhu.
Abraham means form. Thus, the complete whole is not formless. If he were formless, or if he were less than his creation in any other way, he could not be complete. Complete whole must contain everything, both within and beyond our experience. Otherwise, he cannot be complete.
So therefore, is he just Brahman? Why? Because he has to have the form, because his creations, we're just not light, we have form. Okay, any questions thus far? Any arguments? Any questions? Prabhu, incidentally, he puts the slides up. You can download it if you're pictures
For me later on,
to revise.
yeah.
Good. Good.
I have a question. Okay, so our karma is eternal.
No, our karma is
Sorry,
changeable.
not karma. I mean like our knowledge. Whatever time we gain knowledge, we gain that's eternal in us. It's not due to, it's not
Stopped.
conditioned by the time factor. So unto what point or how do we know when we get to that point where we can have a space?
Is unlimited. Knowledge about him is unlimited. There's never an end. It's an ongoing Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, ever increasing ocean of joy. So Krishna is like that. There's no end to Krishna's to knowing Krishna.
So as you say, I know Krishna.
Defective, yeah.
So even when we get liberation, or even when we also learn more about you.
Yes. They
Even Krishna doesn't even know about how unlimited he is. Even he gets bewildered.
Is that why they say Ananta is always discussing or
Yes.
Yeah, that's why. Very good point. Thank you so much for that. Ananta Sheshnag on the cover of this Isopanisad. This picture Prabhupada wanted, right? This Ananta Shesh has many mouths, right? Thousands and millions of mouths. Ananta Shesh is the divine serpent at the back, right? And what does he say? Even if he had millions and millions of more mouths, he won't be able to sufficiently glorify Krishna, right? For eternity, because that's how enormous the enormity of Krishna's glories is such that it can't even be accomplished by millions and millions of mouths.
Even if one mouth repeats the pastime only once, but every mouth will repeat a unique pastime still for eternity. Will not find it.
Let me give you a small example, very minute example. Krishna's pastimes, there's variety of how he does it. So his pastimes are happening at every moment in different universes. Sometimes for the like we're speaking about the Kaliya serpent, right? Sometimes Krishna catches a lift with Kaliya down the Yamuna to go to Mathura, right? And like, because according to what we know, Krishna Kamsa sent Akrura with the chariot to come to Vrindavan, pick up Krishna and take him for the wrestling match, right? But in other yugas, he catches a lift with with Kaliya. He can do all his pastimes with so much variegation that there's no limit to it. And of course, Nishingadev pastime, every incarnation performs the pastimes like this. So how can our Bhagavatam gives us this amount of knowledge for our universe. So imagine in the other universes where the Brahmas have more heads, how much more intelligence there is required to create those universes, how much more variegatedness Krishna's pastimes we have in those universes. So it doesn't end at 12th canto. Because you're not, the classes are not going to end anytime soon. Right? So we finished with Vigraha. Anything?
You could even do a simple test. Take science of self-realization. I'm sure we all must have read science of self-realization. If you keep reading science of self-realization every single year, you think, oh,
I missed this point.
I'm reading this point. Or you would say, oh, I didn't understand this one. I now understand it. Same thing with Bhagavad Gita. And in one purport, Prabhupada says, if you study, not read, study all 18 chapters, not for 2 years, every single day, Study all 18 chapters every single day. Prabhupada says every single day you find something new.
That's why Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, on that first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, he lectured for like an entire month, 3 months, entire 3 months on that one verse, right? And one time they asked Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada said we should have a newspaper every day. So, so they, someone was in doubt.
You can publish every 2 seconds.
That's how much of knowledge there is in Krishna consciousness. It's just that we're a bit empty. You understand? So we need to fill up. Okay, then anything else on the form of Krishna? Krishna is existing in innumerable universes. Krishna is existing every way, still is Avyayatma. From the original Krishna, although he has expanded into millions and trillions, unlimited, still is Avyaya, without any minus. It is not like that we have some bank balance, and if it is taken away millions of times, then it is finished. No, Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. That is Krishna. This is the verdict of the Vedanta. Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Idam Purnat Purnam Udachyate. Prabhupada is emphasizing this. Everything which is emanating from Krishna is complete. There's no deficiency. Everything. Janma Dyasya Yataha. So Prabhupada gave the example of a cup of water being diminished and then it is not complete, right? When the water is taken from that bottle. You remember that picture we had up? Now he's saying our bank balance. When it is taken, there's nothing, right? Krishna is not like that. There is never a minus. So Krishna is never short, right? And even in next week's verse, right, there's another example coming up. This point is there for us to never lose faith that Krishna is not enough for us. He is enough. More than enough. So just to put it simply. So this is a very, very see, okay, this is a bit squished up here. Can you explain the chart of view for them in a more concise way, because this thing is squished up?
So Krishna has unlimited
Expansions.
So briefly.
So if the question has ever been in your head, when did Krishna? Which is the original Krishna? You know, isn't it? Which is the original Krishna? Then you can explain. Chaturvyuha, right?
Somebody may say Vishnu
is the source of all incarnations, right?
So why didn't Prabhupada put Krishna on the cover?
And is there a problem? You got a problem with Krishna being two added?
So yeah, so Prabhupada could have put Krishna, but Prabhupada put Vishnu, okay? Because from the Vedas, people can relate to Vishnu because the Vedas talk about Vishnu 96% of the time. Okay? Krishna is confidential.
4%.
His form is very confidential, okay? Because it's a personal form. So most of those who follow the Vedas, they think Vishnu is supreme. Vishnu is the ultimate.
Because all incarnations come from Vishnu.
So now, you know, in the purports to Prabhupada, in Prabhupada's purport, Prabhupada and Bhagavatam says, you know, Krishna is the fountainhead of all incarnations, not Vishnu. So now, how to understand that? Okay? And you can read about this in the
I'm so sorry that it didn't come out too clear.
In the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, life and teachings of Lord Chaitanya. In there's a few chapters. Prabhupada goes into great depth explaining this. So briefly, we'll just go over. Krishna is the fountainhead, and remember, we're going to explain Krishna and Krishna's expansions. But just as Krishna expands, Srimati Radharani also expands. Because you'll find it's Radha and
Krishna,
Krishna. Lakshmi,
Narayan,
Narayan. Sita,
Ram,
Ram. Durga,
Shiva.
Shiva. Okay? They're all the energetic and the energy are always together. So Krishna is the fountainhead of all incarnations. From Krishna, his first expansion uh, from his right hand side is Balaram.
Balaram,
From his left hand side,
Radha,
Shrimati Radhavani. Then Shrimati Radhavani expands similar to how Balaram is going to expand. So Balaram is first expansion. Because he's first expansion, therefore he is Guru Tattva. He knows Krishna best. And he's not different from Krishna. Only difference, two differences between Balaram and Krishna.
color.
Color? Oh,
No, all the colored boys sometimes
even,
have flutes.
even Lord Ramachandra plays the flute, by the way. So color and consciousness. Krishna, his consciousness is Aham Sarvasya Prabhava. I am the source of all and I am the enjoyer. All other incarnations, their consciousness is to serve Krishna. Therefore, you will see Lord Nityananda, what he wants to do?
Serve.
Serve Lord Chaitanya. That's his only desire. Therefore, all energies coming from Balaram, they always want to serve Krishna. So Balaram is first expansion. From Balaram comes the Chaturvuya, first four quadruple forms of Vishnu.
Pradyumna,
Pradyumna, Aniruddha,
Sankarshan.
Sankarshan, Vasudeva. Okay, these are the one of the four forms of quadruple Vishnu forms. Then from the Sankarshan expands again into a quadruple Narayan.
Another four.
Another form. Same name. Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Sankarshan, and Vasudeva. But this Sankarshan now, instead of the first one was Sankarshan, this one becomes Mahashankarshan. It's called Mahashankarshan. From that form, Mahavishnu
comes.
Mahavishnu is lying on the causal ocean, and from his pores, millions of universes come out. That Mahavishnu then expands as Garbhadakasai Vishnu, lying on
Garbadak
the
ocean.
Garbha ocean and on the Sesa Nag, and from his navel, lotus sprouts,
Brahma.
and Brahma is born. And then in every universe, in every atom, in everyone's heart, that Garbhadakasai Vishnu expands as as Shirodakasai Vishnu as the super soul. Okay, so these basically are the expansions of Vishnu. And then from the Vishnu, you then start getting all the different incarnations, all the avatars. Let's all start expanding. But this is like the main expansions that come from Krishna.
Okay. So everything besides Krishna is Prakriti, and Krishna is only Purusha.
Yes.
Even Balaram side, even Krishna side, is it also Prakriti?
No. So Prakriti is the energy
So
side.
that's from Srimati Radharani.
Yeah. Purusha is all from Krishna,
Yes.
all are
Purush.
Purusha, because they're also not different from Krishna.
Which energy to fall under? I know we marginal energy, but which
Prakriti.
So we come to Srimati Radharani.
So we are a combination of all three. The living entity is combination of Latini, Samvit, and Sandhini. Marginal potency.
But we obviously have that eternal Prakriti nature, that nature for
Yeah, Prabhupada says
For
that.
service. Yeah.
Consciousness is never Purush for us living entities. Can never be Purush. Anything else? Y'all understood that? You're confused, you know? So
It's
there's
technical, but
the original Krishna, how he expands in 4 times, right? And then how the 3 Vishnus come. Okay? And from the 3 Vishnu, from the 1 Vishnu, you get the different incarnations. Okay? Just in brief. That's all.
Sorry, question. So in Vaikuntha,
Yes.
every Narayana has different name, its planet or
Yeah, yeah.
So there's 24 primary,
Narayan feet
24 primary Narayans. They hold conch shell club, lotus mace,
differently.
right? And each one, if you take the four, so if I'm holding the club in one hand, I can hold the club in the other three hands. And I can then hold the other instruments. So according to where I'm holding the different instruments or different auspicious club, the lotus, conch, chakra, etc., then I have my name is corresponding. So if you look at the first canto of the Bhagavatam,
The
first canto
cover.
Bhagavatam cover,
In a picture on the top.
I'll be able to relate and see all of the name. You'll see the name and you'll see the Vishnus. And look at the Vishnus and look at the four instruments they're holding, and you'll see their different hands. Okay? And if you want a breakdown, go to the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. It's there.
High temple, the video that you see.
Yes.
This is like
Correct. The different expansions.
Same philosophy, same followed. Yeah, good you watched it. Okay, so Prem Prabhupada says, read loudly, Ananga.
He can expand. Brahman means he can expand and he can shrink also to the minute. That's like it's a minute to minute.
Minute. Yeah, minute.
Just like we are very minute. We are also part and parcel. And this cosmic manifestation is also part and parcel of Krishna. Therefore, he's called Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Param Bhavan.
Purusham, Shashvatam, Divyam, Adidevam, Ajam Vibhu. So, what happens is that Krishna, he is Brahman, means he can expand unlimitedly. So, just like you were saying earlier, Krishna expanded unlimitedly in the Ras Leela. One time in Vrindavan, when Brahma was watching the cowherd boys in the picnic, can you see the cowherd boys in the picnic here? There they are. All right. So they were all eating their lunch with Krishna, and the custom is, Prabhupada explained, they sit in rows, okay? And then they all open up their tiffins, and what is inside the tiffin, they will take something, it tastes nice. Oh, this tastes so nice, Krishna. You might have to taste this laddu. My mother made it. So nice, you know. I tasted it, you know, it's the best. It's better than yesterday's one. So in normal circumstance, it's muchi, right? You get muchi and suchi. Muchi is contaminated, suchi is uncontaminated. So if I drink out of this bottle, it's muchi, it's contaminated by me. So I can't give it to you. You understand? Because I've contaminated it. Similarly, unless I wash it, of course. But if I eat something, it's my remnants. I don't give it to my superior, right? That's the etiquette, right? Under normal circumstances. Here are these cowherd boys. And Krishna is supposedly the supreme personality of Godhead. And what are they doing? They're giving him their remnants. They're biting into something and they're giving it. And Krishna is accepting it and he's eating it and he's saying, oh, this is so nice. Your mother has made it so wonderfully. I've never tasted something like this before, right? So he's relishing together with these devotees in such an intimate way. And Lord Brahma, for the life of him, could not perceive how can someone who is supreme accept the remnants of a lower being. So he decided that he's going to test the supremacy of God. So what he did was he captured all of the calves and the cowherd boys from this assembly. He kidnapped them and he took them away for an entire year. And what did Krishna do? Krishna expanded himself into these Narayan forms, which actually then resumed the forms of these cowherd boys and calves for an entire year. And they went home, and their mothers, the cow mothers, the gopi mothers, they started to love their cows and their children, whether calf, be it calf or cowherd boy, to a greater extent than they did yesterday. Because this is the all-attractive, supreme complete whole that is coming as my child. So obviously, it's going to stimulate even more sentiments of loving attachment. So they're becoming so saturated in this Vatsalya bhav towards their children, because Krishna, he had that ability, and Brahma became humbled when he saw this, and he realized that for the entire year that he kept them away, Krishna was never incomplete. He never became any less of the Supreme Lord, that he was doing all the jobs. Imagine being this house and being the cowherd in this house, and doing whatever cowherds do, cleaning the cow barn, etc., and seeing to it that the cow has enough grass to lay on, sweeping up the cow dung and putting the patties of cow dung aside. So much job the cowherds do. So then the boy is doing it, Krishna is doing it in this house, is doing it in that house. Similarly, who else? Narad Muni saw this happen in the palaces, right? That Krishna had expanded into each and every single palace, and he was doing each and every single in each and every single palace a different activity. But yet he was the same Krishna. He never diminished, right? So Krishna, he has this ability, and Lord Brahma was so fascinated, and thereby he accepted that, yes, I hereby surrender. And then he started to chant, Ishvaraha Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadi Radir Govinda Sarvakarna Karanam. And then he chanted all those verses that ended it, Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Chanted the entire Brahma Samhita, right, in glorification of this over talkative blue boy of Braj. So this is the nature of Param Brahman. Then Prabhupada explains here, therefore in this universe, material cosmic manifestation is working very nicely. You have to accept there is a God. You cannot deny, so that consciousness, super consciousness is different. You cannot say, I am the same, I have super consciousness. That is not possible. If you have super consciousness, why do you feel my pain? Why don't you feel my pains and pleasure? The super consciousness is Vishnu. That is all pervading consciousness. That is also the same. Nature is the same. As I have consciousness as I have consciousness all over this body, similarly, super consciousness is all over the universe. As I feel pains and pleasures on account of some disturbance in this body, similarly, as soon as we create some disturbance within the universal atmosphere, the supreme consciousness is disturbed. That disturbance is going on. Therefore, in spite of all arrangements, Purnam idam purnam ada purnam udachate, that by God's creation everything is complete. There is no flaw. But because we are creating disturbances, the world situation is different. This planet is spinning on its axis. How fast? 1,000 miles per hour, Prabhupada writes, right? He says 1,000 miles per hour. This is spinning. You're feeling dizzy? You're going for a spin at 1,000 miles an hour and you're not feeling dizzy? Yet, Prabhupada explains you're in an aeroplane, a man-made aeroplane, right? And you'll experience turbulence, right? There's turbulence there. But Krishna's creation is so complete that even at 1,000 miles per hour, the spin, you're not even dizzy, right? You are functioning, you're able to walk. You go onto a boat, man-made, right? You get seasick, you can't function. Life's very difficult because it's not as complete creation as Krishna's, right? Krishna's creation is absolute and complete. You don't feel any lack or any need. He knows what is the need of the hour. He gives us the gravitational pull to keep us down. Otherwise, can you imagine how you'll be flying off? We'll all be like flying off, holding on, right? Unable to do our daily activities. What to speak of traverse from point A to B? So that is the magnanimous nature of the supreme, complete whole, which is known as Krishna. There cannot be, so Now, there's a question of overpopulation. Okay? So if Krishna's planet is complete, where's the question of overpopulation? Right? Because this is a problem. Is this a God created problem? No, it is a man created problem. Gandhi himself, Mohandas K. Gandhi, he said, there is enough on this planet for every man's need, but not for every man's greed. Right? So now, Prabhupada said in a lecture in London, the same lecture that we'd been going through, there cannot be any imperfection, even where there is overpopulation. Read loud, Damodar Prabhu.
There cannot be an imperfection where there is population. God will supply food, don't worry. But because we have not faith in God, we have forgotten God, don't know what is God, therefore we have created economic problem. Otherwise, there is no problem. See how jolly,
How jolly they are.
jolly they are. They are working, so by nature, study and learn. If we don't go to the Vedic knowledge and see that problem for the lower animals, there is no problem. They are confident. Problem for the lower animals are there when they are in the city. But if they live in a natural life, there's no problem.
So Prabhupada was pointing out actually to the lake, and there were ducks there. And they were, there's no birth control or any interference. Naturally, they are producing and they are living naturally. If they live off natural substances in unpolluted waters, of course, and plastic, no plastic hindrances and all the man-made problems, naturally, by nature, by Krishna's arrangement, there's enough for them to survive. But when they come to the city and they're affected by man's greed, then there becomes a problem, right? So this is, Prabhupada says, there's no economic problem. That means there's no shortage. The shortage comes when there's a defective mindset. And just now, Prabhupada is going to tell us what is a defective mindset and how to correct it. Nimai?
Suppose you have a rich father, enough food, whereas your economic problem, this is madness. There is no economic problem. If you know that my father is the richest man in the city, then where is your economic problem? Actually, that is the position. We have no economic problem. Everything is there, complete, Purnam, Ada, Purnam, Idam, Purnat, Purnam,
Udachate.
Udachite. Everything is complete there. You want water, just see. There are oceans of water. You want purified water, you cannot. Although there is so much ocean water, when there is scarcity of water, you have to accept Krishna's help. He'll evaporate the water. He'll make it into clouds. Then when it falls down, it becomes sweet. Otherwise, you cannot touch it. Everything is under control. Everything is full. Water, light, heat. Everything is complete. Purnat, Purnam,
Udachate.
Udachite, Purnasya, Purnam, Adya, Purnam,
Eva
Eva.
Vashishyate.
His stock is never finished. Simply you become obedient and the supply is there. You can understand.
So in abundance, thank you very much, Bill. There is actually in abundance everything available. The reason why we're not getting it, why we experience a shortage is why? We're not plugged into the power source. We have unplugged ourselves. If there's a need, there is an abundance by Krishna's complete arrangement for Krishna to do the service of evaporating the salty water, creating rain clouds, and thereby giving us the unsalted water, what do we have to do? Prabhupada says we have to take Krishna's help. Means we have to surrender and say, Krishna, you're in control, please help us. And practically, we have evidence when in so many different places on this planet, when there was drought, the devotees would have Sankirtan. They would sit down and they would chant 24 hours Hare Krishna Maha Mantra with simple devotion to Krishna. And what would happen? The water would be supplied. Like when they were opening the Ujjain temple, there was no water in the entire district of that area. And then the authority there at that time, His Holiness Bhakti Chirumaj, he told the devotees that chant, have 24-hour kirtan. And then the media got news of this. Oh, the devotees are going to pray for rain. Let's, will it happen? Will this miraculous thing happen? So they came and they asked Maharaj. He said, at the end of it all, there will be water. And you know what happened? After many days, how many days? 3 days of chanting like that, the devotees' well had water. The municipality was able to come and fill their trucks and take supply for every other place. There was water only in this well. In so many places like that. The devotees there would be drought, the devotees would be chanting. In one place they were chanting, and then the farmer on the other side, the rain fell, but it didn't fall in his land. And he was fascinated by this whole thing. So, Krishna is giving in abundance. When we plug into that power supply of Krishna's all-powerful nature, we will be supplied. So we've got to take help from Krishna, as Prabhupada is saying here. We have to acknowledge his supremacy, surrender to him, and he will, as they surrender, he rewards them accordingly. And we're coming to the conclusion just now. So if somebody could read very nicely, loud and clear, like Pranesh, Prabhu.
So if the king is pious, the earth will produce enough for your satisfaction. Now I've seen in your country how so much land is lying vacant. Why is it not being farmed? Because you do not know how to derive all benefits from the earth. That you do not know. Therefore, people are in need. There is no question of need. Krishna has given everything. Purna, Purnamida, Purnamidam, Purnam. There cannot be anything imperfect which is created by God. Everything is perfect. But if we become godless, the supply will be crippled. That is the secret we do not know. These things we have to learn from Shastra. As soon as people become demoniac, nature will supply us. Now you have become demoniac. That's all
right. So what happens is that when there is a demoniac leadership, then the earth would hold her supplies, right? Like when Yudhishthir Maharaj was in charge, the earth had everything in great abundance, right? All natural resources were in abundance. When the king becomes demoniac, then earth withholds the seeds, withholds the crops, there's famine, there's drought, there's so many things, because it's the same thing, unplugging from the power source. As soon as the leader, women, old men, and children, like the Bhagavatam is saying, are protected, that society will flourish. When these things become impure by unchaste habits, etc., then things become withdrawn. But as soon as we surrender to Krishna and follow, like Shastra explains, then Prabhupada says there will be abundance. That is the secret. So what? Yes, Prabhu.
Pastime for Hiranyakashipu,
Mhm.
he was in power, abundance, fear.
Out of fear.
Yeah. Is it like this only for the Kali Yuga in our age now, or was that separate from?
That the earth withheld.
Yeah.
No. Whenever there is a demoniac, And then the earth, because of fear, she's producing, but she's not producing to the best of her ability. On the other hand, when Krishna was there and Nanda Maharaj was in charge, the cows gave in abundance, the flowers would bear in abundance, the vegetables were in abundance, because earth was not fearful, the service was voluntary.
So completeness doesn't only mean in terms of produce.
Produce, yeah.
Produce. Completeness also means in terms of quality. So I can cook out of fear, right? You have the food, but that food will be poisonous.
The effect is
So I
different,
want to
yeah.
cook out of love, which is food plus love. That's all.
That's a nice explanation. So, who can, I forgot your name now. Say your name again.
No,
Timona. Timona.
um,
Srila Prabhupada.
this is my mission. People should understand the science of God. Unless we cooperate with the Supreme Lord, our life is baffled. I have given the example many times that a screw that has fallen from a machine has no value. But when the same screw is again attached to the machine, it has value. Similarly, we are part and parcel of God. So without God, what is our value? No value. We should again come back to our position of attachment to God. Then we have value.
So, a loose screw is valueless. All right, when it's loose and on the floor and it's separated from the machine, it's like the body parts. No matter how beautiful a face you have, how beautiful your hair is, how beautiful your head is, any part of your body, when it's severed from the whole, does it, is it relishable that someone say, wow, a hand, I see a hand, let me take it and put it away, keep it away, I may need it in the future. No, no matter how beautiful it was when it was on the body, when it is severed, what happens? It loses its value. Or it is only valuable when it is in conjunction with the entire, with the completeness of it is complete when it is part of the body. Otherwise, it's incomplete. So, anyone wants to say anything further about this? No matter how many degrees we have, Prabhupada often says, right? No matter how many achievements we accumulate in this material world, it is all like one big zero, one big zero, one big zero. All the big zeros put together equals zero, right? But if we put the one in front, there's so much value to the entire row of useless zeros. So all our accumulated talents, etc., they are valueless if they're not plugged in with the supreme whole, with the supreme source. So that connection has to be re-established. Now, in the material world, how often it is we hear people say, my life was incomplete before I met you. Why are you laughing? You heard this before. Okay, seems like everyone heard this at some point in time, right? That, huh? Yeah, people are blushing here. Right? Because this is the nature of the material world. We think, my life was incomplete before I met you. But then, after hearing this much knowledge in this one less than an hour that we've been hearing from Srila Prabhupada on the subject, how can one incomplete body and another incomplete body come together and add completeness? You're a few cents short yourself. How can you complete somebody else? You can't. That's why together we have to have the third person in the relationship, like a triangle, and that is Krishna. All right. One complete, incomplete person cannot make the other person complete. Krishna has to be the third factor. You can never become the best wife, the best husband, or the best daughter or son. You better become the best servant of Krishna, then automatically you'll be the best husband, wife, and son, daughter. You understand? Das and a das and a das is the principal relationship that has to be reawakened, reestablished, and thereby everything else will automatically come right. So that is Krishna. If we add the third person Krishna into the relationship, all other relationships will become complete. So this is the second last slide, and I would like this to be read loud and clearly by Sanjay Prabhu, Sahadev Prabhu.
Loving Krishna becomes
Brings
oh, loving Krishna brings completeness. So this is the technique of Krishna consciousness. And if you learn how to love Krishna, then you will love everything. Otherwise, your love will be
localized.
localized and you will be frustrated. It is most scientific, and our process is very simple. Chant Hare Krishna, that's all. Krishna and Krishna's name are not different. Chanting Hare Krishna means you are associating with Krishna. That means you are directly in touch with the root of everything. So by advancing in love of Krishna, you can love your society, your country, your community, your family, your husband, your wife, your children, your friends, everything complete. Purnam, Purnam, Adha Purnam, Idham Purnam, Purnam, Ayat,
Udachate.
Purnasya, Purnam, Adhaya, and that love will never end. Purnam, love of Krishna is so complete that you go on distributing this love. It will never be expanded. It will remain the same.
Yes. So thank you so much. So Prabhupada is explaining here that Krishna, he is the supreme person. And if you try to become a good nationalist, you try to do good for your country, you try to do good for your society. Prabhupada was trying to do that. He was trying to be Gandhi's man, right? And what did Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj tell him? Simply preach Krishna consciousness and everything else will be fulfilled. Like it is so easy to become sentimentally involved in the political situation of any country. But the greater picture is that we have to fulfill the eternal, the eternal missing link, that is reconnecting with Krishna, right? Then all problems will be solved. The smaller problems, it's like if you have a 10 Rand problem and I give you a 200 Rand note, all your 10 Rand problems will become solved, right? So similarly, all the smaller problems of political strife, of overpopulation, of famine, of shortages, of all different things, so many material problems. What is the real problem? The real problem is you've separated yourself from Krishna. Like Nishingananda Prabhu was saying one time, when you stamp your toe, what's the problem? Huh? The door.
No,
Your toe is the problem.
again at the time.
The pain at the time. Anything else? What's your diagnosis?
The door because it was there.
The door because it was there. Anything else?
Build it because you build it.
What's the problem, Nima?
Karma. That's it.
Karma.
Yeah.
The problem is you separated from Krishna. You chose to come here. If you were in the spiritual world, you won't have a toe that pains. You have a spiritual toe, right? And it will be guided so nicely that it won't go where it's not supposed to go in the first place, right? So you have a headache. What's the problem? The problem is we accepted a material body, right? We chose to be separate from Krishna. If we take all of our problems in the material world, why are we suffering sorrow, separation, so many things, whatever problems there are in the material world? What you said, Prabhu? Anxiety, stress, so many things. Why? Because you chose to come here. It is a place where it's a place of anxiety. It's mrityuloka. There's going to be death. There's going to be pain. There's going to be suffering. It's a definition of this place. And how can we think, okay, we'll come here, but we don't want all of this here? That's why it's illusion. All right. But through scriptural eyes, we see that actually there is a solution. And what is the solution? The solution is to plug into Krishna, and then we will experience some completeness. So Prabhupada gives the conclusion. All services in this world, whether social, political, communal, international, or even interplanetary, will remain incomplete until they are dovetailed with the complete whole. Unless the hand is reconnected to the body, its existence is dry and useless. The bottom line is reconnection has to be established. And who has, in whose court is that ball? Ours. Krishna has given us minute independence, and it behooves an intelligent person to make the correct decisions in everything that we're doing and to connect with Krishna, to add Krishna as the third person, rasa or not. You got to add Krishna. Clinton said he would have been married now, but she didn't know how to make rasa or something. I tend to remember funny things. So I thank you very much. Hari Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Isopanisad ki jai. Is there any final comment, question, correction?
On page 15, Sri Isopanisad. Last week I made the point that Sri Isopanisad is giving us the building blocks of life. And if we follow the building blocks, our life will be perfect. If we don't know the building blocks and we don't follow them, we have challenges. So from all the points that Bhante mentioned in terms of plugging, not connecting with Krishna, etc., Prabhupada, this sentence you should memorize.
On page 15.
So deaf do you but. Okay. On page 15. I'll read the introduction of the paragraph, but this statement Prabhupada makes very, very important. One sentence. Prabhupada says first, all facilities are given to the small complete units, namely the living beings, so we are complete units, to enable them to realize the complete. So all facilities given, which means Krishna is complete, all units emanate from Krishna, both the material world is coming from Krishna, it's complete. The living entities come from Krishna, it's complete. All facilities come from Krishna, it's complete. All the units, they have all facility to realize the complete whole. So there's no excuses. We got everything. We even have the road maps now. The previous we had everything. We may have a bead bag, we may have beads, but we don't know what to do with it. Right? So now we have all the map books, the guidance also. Now Prabhupada says, all forms of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete whole. All forms of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete whole. When you don't know Krishna completely and how to serve him nicely and completely, you're going to experience all forms of incompleteness. You have a headache, what do you call it?
Incompleteness.
Incompleteness. You don't have a job, what do you call it? Incompleteness.
Heartbroken.
You're starving, incompleteness. Relationship broken, incompleteness. Illness, challenges, emotions, all different forms of conflicts. It's all forms of incompleteness. And you can patch up one form of incompleteness with another form of incompleteness. Like you cut your hand. Why? Incompleteness. So you take a bandage. So bandage is incomplete. You take incomplete bandage and you put it on your incomplete issue. You're going to get another form of incompleteness. But you still got a hand. Okay? You need to complete yourself by complete knowledge of Krishna with complete connection to Krishna through service, then you can experience completeness.
I
That's a
think
very beautiful point.
thank you so much, Prabhu. I think I think it's befitting that we should just complete with one pastime of Srila Prabhupada. What do you think? So Srila Prabhupada in Juhu, Hare Krishna land, he told the devotees that they should have 24-hour kirtan every day, right? So then it was not possible for them to have every day. So then Prabhupada said at least once a week. So every Sunday, they would gather in the temple room and they would have a 24-hour kirtan. So in front of the deities, every member of the temple, wasn't cooking for the deities or something like that. Whatever service they had, they did it, but the focus was to be present in that yagna of Harinam. So what happened was His Holiness Giriraj Swami, he was temple president at that time, and devotees would come and they would have a problem, right? Like during the week, some devotee would come and they would have some difficulty, some personal issue or conflict with another devotee, sometime a major issue. But whatever issue it was serious enough, they would bring it to the temple president's attention. And Maharaj, he said he had faith that he could not solve anybody's problems, but the holy name could solve the person's problem because the holy name is not different from Krishna. So, when we talk about plugging in, it means that we've got to open the mouth and the heart and chant Hare Krishna. Reach out to Krishna in this way. Cry like Prabhupada says, the child crying out for the mother. So Maharaj, he had this conviction at heart that he couldn't solve the problems, but the holy name would solve the person's problem. So he very cleverly devised an answer. When somebody would come with a problem, he would tell them, okay, um, uh, he'd listen to them very compassionately and he'd say, can we discuss this further on Monday? Because on Sunday was the kirtan and everybody had to attend. And he said, most of the time, practically all of the time, the people would attend the kirtan and they would find a solution coming just by attending the kirtan. The problem will be by Krishna's mercy solved. So by Monday he had no more meetings to attend to. So because that plugging in was there, the holy name was so potent that whatever issue, whatever disturbance there was at heart, was all pacified when the devotees took complete shelter of the holy name as per the advice of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Conclusion. We'll see you next week. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.